the next episode of Just Seen It, we review the new magical comedy, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone.
Excuse us. What are you wearing?
The way he looked, I thought, this is going to be great. You know, this seems like a quintessential Jim Carrey character.
The suspense thriller, The Call, starring Halle Berry.
Good work.
Oh, and then when you go to the Hive, of course it's going to be a little bit more glossy and whatever and bright because it is.
The Place Beyond the Pines, with Ryan Gosling.
You want a house? I'll get you a house. I'll get a truck. We'll hit the road.
The reason why it needs to be this way is because it's about the journey of this family.
And the Netflix political drama, House of Cards.
We are not nominating you for Secretary of State. I know he made you a promise, but circumstances have changed.
Our guide through the story is Kevin Spacey. He breaks the fourth wall a lot.
Coming up next on Just Seen It. Burt and his partner Anton have a wildly successful magic act in Vegas.
What are you wearing?
My magician's costume because I am a magician.
The whole point of this is to update our act.
But Anton quits after Burt injures him in a dangerous stunt.
Burt, you're gonna break the box! No, you're gonna break the box!
Overshadowed by a street magician, Burt tries to reclaim his top billing in The Incredible Burt Wonderstone.
Hi, I'm Brenna.
I'm Sean.
Hi, I'm Liz. And we're here today to discuss The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, the new film starring Steve Carell, Steve Buscemi, and Jim Carrey. We've all just seen it. Brenna, you want to start us off?
It was written by Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley. They also came up with the story for it. And that's probably the weakest part of the movie. I enjoyed this movie thoroughly, but I have to say that the problems with this film come from the writing. The story is very problematic.
I felt like it's missing the magic.
The beginning and the end were adorable, like really sweet and heartfelt moments. And it's bookended with adorableness.
The first 10 minutes with them as kids, I was like, I wanted the whole movie to be them
So
as kids
lovely.
learning magic. That would have been great.
So there were moments where I couldn't figure out if I should go aw or laugh. So I did like an awkward like, ha ha, aw.
It seems almost as if the story is just a vessel for jokes and not necessarily to impart any wisdom or any kind of tone or thematic content. And that's what bothers me. But the value of the beginning and the end overrides everything.
What you do is not magic.
I understand. It's natural for a dying leaf to be frightened by the autumn wind.
I don't think there's enough plot to sustain the picture. They couldn't really figure out, well, is this a movie about two magicians who can't get along? Or no, this is actually a romantic comedy with Steve Carell and Olivia Wilde's character. But no, it's not really about that either. There's a mentor played by Alan Arkin, and then Steve Carell doesn't really know his magic well enough, so he teaches him that. And the movie never really finds its footing as to exactly what it wants to be or what the story is it wants to tell.
It has too many supporting characters. We have our lead, Burt Wonderstone, played by Steve Carell, but then I was trying to figure out who's his support. And so we have, this very odd triangle going on.
Yeah.
And you're right, the film didn't pick and choose the subplots that it wanted to discover. It just tried to get
Put them all in there, yeah.
What about all my investments?
There's your imported Mexican spring water, Agua de Leche.
That was a very classy product. High-end packaging.
It's Mexican water, Burt. You were selling the promise of diarrhea for $3 a bottle.
Despite all the story problems, the cast is where this film shines.
Steve Carell seems to be channeling Will Ferrell the majority of the film. He plays grumpy Will Ferrell, who's obsessed with himself. And then halfway through the film, when we have the character arc change, Steve Carell gets back to his likable, adorable self that he does so well at.
So Steve Buscemi from Boardwalk Empire fame plays Anton, Burt's partner in magic, and he's my favorite part of the movie. He's sweet and he's funny and he's the butt of every joke, and he just smiles it off, which makes it that much more adorable.
I really like Jim Carrey, but I saw him on the posters for this movie, and the way he looked, I thought, this is going to be great. This seems like a quintessential Jim Carrey character. And it's not that he's bad, but He comes on screen, the first scene, you know exactly who he is, you know exactly what his purpose in the movie is. That's it. He doesn't go anywhere, and the movie has nowhere for him to go.
He is absolutely ripped in this. He's got these fake tattoos, these long hair, and he's just buff. He's got the scene where he's like stretching and like looking at like an Asian chick who's giving him eyes, and it's just Jim Carrey.
See you in the morning. Somebody give me a wake-up call or I'll sleep right through.
The absolute best part of the film was Alan Arkin. And I think that Alan Arkin can save any film from its own demise. He makes every movie better. He was heartfelt, he was genuine, he was sweet, he was kind, he was hilarious.
He's great, but again, it's sort of the same thing with every character. They could have used him more. They could have done something else with him.
The whole film should have been Alan Arkin, though.
Probably.
That would have been an amazing film.
Or he should have been it from the beginning. Him and the two kids. Alan Arkin and the two kids learning magic.
It's time for my final disappearing act.
Where did he go? He has gone to a better place.
He's under the bed.
I know.
Our director is Don Scardino of 30 Rock fame. There are certain times where you can see, he's got, like you said, he's got all these A-list actors. These A-list actors who, if you don't control them, will just banter back and forth all day long and be able to rein them in and let them loose depending on what scene it is, depending on what you need. I think that speaks a lot to his skill. So maybe if he gets a better script, he could do awesome work.
Yeah, and when the film is good, it's really good. Like, there's some wonderful camera work in specific scenes that illustrate magic tricks in one take.
The single take thing you're talking about, they do a trick at the beginning of the movie called the Hangman, where you basically get to see this trick with one camera move, and so it's like you're actually watching a live magic show.
Right.
They consulted with illusionists. They consulted with David Copperfield, with Chris Angel, which I think is interesting because Jim Carrey is just a walking, talking Chris Angel joke, so I'm interested to see what Chris Angel feels about it. My favorite scene, which is the magician sex scene, which was just way too short. They could have done so much more with it, but it was also absolutely hilarious with what they had.
Just like magician sex.
Magician sex is just so fascinating to me. I just like, oh, where did it? Oh, there it is.
But that's your note for every movie.
There should be more
magician sex. Lincoln, you were like, there should be more magician sex.
I agree.
The Incredible Burt Wonderstone has some story and structure problems. However, it does have some very funny jokes, and it also has Alan Arkin. Stream it.
I agree that there are some serious story problems, but everything else is just so much fun. I give it a see it.
Yeah, there are some entertaining moments, but I felt like it was a magic trick where I knew the secret. Fun, but predictable. Stream it.
Well, it looks like our votes add up to 2 full tickets, which is a stream it for The Incredible Burt Wonderstone. Cheers!
Cheers to magic.
A young girl is killed after 9/11 operator Jordan botches the call. Devastated, she discovers the killer is connected to her. Only by confronting her past can she stop his murderous spree in The Call.
Hi, I'm Salim.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Leah. And there were a lot of films that came out this week, and so we're going to do a quick review of The Call, Halle Berry's new movie co-starring Abigail Breslin. We've all just seen it. Who wants to start?
As we all know, The Call stars Halle Berry as a 911 operator who becomes embroiled with a killer who's targeting young women.
He's so dastardly.
Very dastardly.
He was
very
actually
evil.
quite scary.
He was.
He was. But you know what? The best thing about this movie is that it was so suspenseful. I was literally grabbing onto my friend for probably 80 of the 90 minutes of this movie.
I was fully prepared to hate this movie walking in the door. And I have to say I was pleasantly surprised. It is a wildly uneven film in terms of tone. It's almost like they shot all of the horror thriller elements and all of the stuff that's happening in the Hive, which is 911 Central Command, and then they edited them together. That's what it felt like.
Those horror movie elements are supposed to be in there. That's the type of thriller it was. So, and then when you go to the Hive, of course it's going to be a little bit more glossy and whatever and bright because it is.
They're grinding gears as they shift in tone, and you just kind of go with it after a while, though.
Well, I mean,
it happens so consistently.
And that's why, for me, the third act really bogged everything down because we have Halle Berry, the 911 operator, who operates only in the Hive, but of course for the third act, she's got to get out of the Hive and she's got to find the killer.
Of course she does.
Of course she does. I know, I get that, but
but you don't go to these movies movies expecting realism.
No, you don't. But you do expect, when the film sets itself up as one thing and then it switches, then you're kind of like, oh, I thought I was watching a thriller, but now I'm really watching kind of a slasher horror film. Okay, I can get with this, and I just feel like there's a lot of ball juggling going on.
Once they get to the third act, they start messing up a lot with the thriller tropes. Somebody drops a phone, even though they probably should have called them. There's a lot of these things that start happening at the very end of the third act.
But did you not all gasp and go, oh my God, she dropped the phone?
No, oh my God, call 911, go back up the stairs and don't be stupid.
Well, let's talk about Halle Berry and Abigail Breslin. I particularly thought they did a really good job here. I mean, this is a standard thriller that you don't expect a lot from. They don't have to get A-list actors, but they got 2 Oscar-nominated actors to be in this film, and I think they both bring gravitas to the performances. It could just be Abigail Breslin stuck in a trunk and screaming a lot. She does do that, but you do feel for her a little bit more than I think a lesser-known actress would bring to that.
I loved Halle Berry. I thought she was able to carry this film, being vulnerable, but also having to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders. I thought she was great.
Abigail Breslin, I almost didn't recognize her. It took me a long time to realize, oh, that's Little Miss Sunshine.
She's gotten older.
I'm in the trunk. I'm like in the trunk. We are gonna find you, okay, honey? We promise. You've got the best team of people in this whole city.
The Call is an edge-of-your-seat thriller that actually delivers on the thrills. I think it's a call that you should definitely answer. I say see it.
The Call is a fun thrill ride with some great acting from Halle Berry, but unfortunately falters in the third act, so I gave it a stream it.
The Call is a highly flawed film. Lots of problems, but it is thrilling, and it becomes that much more thrilling when you see it in the theater with a live audience. Have some fun and see it.
Well, our votes add up to 2.5 tickets, so that's a see it for The Call.
Cheers.
Cheers.
911, what's your emergency?
There are so many great movies coming out this week on DVD, it's really hard to pick. First, we have The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey.
I like visitors as much as the next Hobbit. But I do like to know them before they come.
Next, we have Les Miserables, with an all-star cast.
Can I conceal myself forevermore? Pretend I'm not the man I was before.
And finally, we have Zero Dark 30, directed by Catherine Bigelow.
This is Joseph Bradley, our station chief.
Nice to meet you.
You too, sir.
You don't think she's a little young for the hard stuff?
Washington says she's a killer.
We gave all 3 of these movies a see it, which means 3 very different movies for your home viewing experience, which isn't a bad problem to have, so enjoy.
In this trilogy of stories, Luke discovers he has a child and gives up his career as a stuntman.
I got that trailer. I'll get a truck. We'll hit the road.
Avery is a young cop determined to make a name for himself.
This is our problem of the police department, and I'm bringing it to your attention because that's what I should do.
And 2 teens try to navigate the treacherous waters of high school in The Place Beyond the Pines.
Hi, I'm Salim.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Aaron, and today we're here to discuss the new drama from Bradley Cooper, Ryan Gosling, and Eva Mendes, The Place Beyond the Pines. We've all just seen it. Who will start us off?
The movie is intriguing because it's split up into 3 parts, and roughly it connects with the 3 acts of the movie, and it's wrought with emotion with some really great dialogue. It's really about fathers and sons and how the sins of the father come back to affect the son.
Each story feels too long. It has to do with how this film discusses this theme of sins of the father and legacy. And I see the connection, I just don't think it's strong enough.
See, I see the connection. This film might have been better as a miniseries. I really do like this story. I think it's well developed, but for a movie, you can't have 3 movies. You gotta pick one. I mean, you could have taken the first chunk and cut that down to 10 minutes and you would have understood, oh, this is the backstory, here's the movie.
It's not about each one of these stories specifically.
It's about how they all connect.
It's about how they all connect with each other. And I actually felt these 3 styles all come together because it's about the theme of fathers and sons.
Yes, but you could have a movie, which many movies do, where they say, oh, here's what this fellow's father was like. He did this thing. You could have a flashback. You could summarize this character in 10 minutes. You wouldn't get the interesting journey of watching this character do what he did, but you could give movie viewers a flavor for who this guy is and then start your movie. Or you break it up, make it a trilogy.
Well, but
I don't know.
that's the way that Derek Cianfrance writes things and directs them. He has a lyrical approach. He doesn't just go A to B, A to B, A to B. Especially in Blue Valentine, his past film, we're always going back and forth. And I like movies that do that. I just don't think that it worked this time.
I thought it was perfect. I thought it was great.
I liked the writing. I just felt like this was not the right medium.
The reason why it needs to be this way is because it's about the journey of this family. If you broke it up into 3 movies, it's going to lose its effect and it's going to lose its theme and then it's going to be
And
about.
I feel like you got to take some details out. That you can't have your cake and 2 other cakes. You get 1 cake.
Hey, don't worry, it's okay. So I didn't mean to startle you. It's okay. I just want to give you something. All right? Listen, this is the money that we recovered from your house, okay? I want you to have it.
I don't know what that is.
You don't have to ever even see me again. Just take the money. I'm not here as a police officer. I'm here as a regular guy.
And let's talk about Bradley Cooper.
He makes you hate him, and then he makes you pity him. And to do that as an actor in the same role is a pretty impressive feat.
The 2 of them are very, very strong. They have believability, they have emotion, and Ryan Gosling was a little bit like his character in Drive in the sense that he doesn't talk very much and is very stony-faced at times. I worry that he's going to keep doing movies like that.
I liked Ryan Gosling. I felt his character was a little bit more believable in this situation than in Drive. Drive is very mysterious. In this, he's more menacing than magnetic.
And he doesn't play crazy, which is good. I mean, you see he almost seems normal for a while.
Yeah, just the authenticity that was brought to this film is so palpable and intriguing. Eva Mendes, who plays Romina, Luke's baby's mama, I'll say. I mean...
He is, no, he is.
Yeah. And I thought this is probably her best performance to date because she's not the sexualized character that she always plays. She has a lot that she has to deal with, a lot of emotions that she has to deal with, and it is incredible to watch.
She's very strong.
Yeah.
You can see it in her face.
This is a male-centric movie, you know, a lot of very strong male characters, and the writing, when that happens, sometimes isn't as layered for females, and the fact that she is as solid as she is and as rounded as she is really a testament to her acting.
He can get his own girl and his own kid. That's every man's right.
Sounds like a nice dream.
In the last third of the film, we have Emery Cohen playing AJ, Avery's son, and Jason, played by Dane DeHaan, who is Ryan Gosling's son. And they give good performances too. They're strong, they're believable as whiny and troubled teenagers.
I think they're actually more interesting than their parents.
They are, that's probably the point.
I actually really enjoyed Dane DeHaan. He was recently in Chronicle, and I feel like he plays the similar character, kind of a nerd who gets picked on a little bit, but he's tougher. He's not just this kid that is going to take any mess from people. He's going to respond back, obviously, because he is Ryan Gosling's son.
I was really annoyed by Ray Liotta. Not that he did a bad job. He plays a crooked cop like always. That's my problem. It's just Ray Liotta is a good actor. He's in movies that don't have him playing a gangster or a crooked cop. Why does he keep insisting on being a crooked cop?
Well, that could have been the director, a fan of Goodfellas, and
yeah. Well, who isn't a fan?
Exactly,
of Goodfellas?
it's true.
I know that I've been harping about the writing of this film, but Derek Cianfrance, as a director, does an amazing job, and he has a great director of photography, Sean Bobbitt, who uses color incredibly well. The cinematography really supports the story, and I did end up enjoying it, even though I had problems with the story, or the way the story is told.
It felt real. I mean, it felt real. I feel like the directing was great in terms of the moment-to-moment, the acting, all of that. It's just, if the editing had been sharper, this movie would not have felt like such an event. This movie has a really interesting plot, great performances. It's just so long. And for that, I give it a stream it.
I do have some problems with the script, but I think overall it is a well-made film that stuck with me, so I'm gonna say see it.
The Place Beyond the Pines has an intriguing structure, wrought with family drama about fathers and sons. A definite see it.
Well, it looks like our votes add up to 2.5 tickets, which is a see it for The Place Beyond the Pines.
Cheers.
Right, cheers.
See your fathers and sons movie.
In this original series from Netflix, Congressman Frank Underwood helps get the president elected.
This is the memo I've drafted on our Middle East policy we've been developing. Now, I'd like to coin the phrase trickle-down diplomacy.
But the president breaks his promise to appoint Frank Secretary of State.
Walker wasn't even there. That's what really gets me. He didn't have the courage to look me in the eye.
Seeking revenge, Frank begins a political war against the president in House of Cards.
Hi, Hi, I'm Liz.
I'm Aaron.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to talk about the new Netflix original series, House of Cards. We've all just seen it?
Well, for the purposes of reviewing this show, I say let's set some standards right off the bat.
All right.
So in terms of giving the show a see it, that would be see it immediately, right? Go to Netflix and watch it as soon as possible. Stream it's kind of vague, but that would be put it at the end of your queue and watch it when you have the time.
Watch it eventually.
And skip it, obviously. Don't check it out at all. I don't think we have to worry about that one because the show is pretty good.
Yeah, no, I don't think that there's anybody here who wants to say skip it.
It's very well done. It's very well written. Amazing cast. Like, the pedigree of this show is astounding.
It's a very strong show because Netflix felt that they needed to start on a really strong foot to start producing their own original content. Media Rights Capital had the rights to House of Cards,
which is a novel written by Michael Dobbs.
It was adapted into a BBC television show of the same name, and they wanted to adapt it for American politics in present day. So the Media Rights Capital shopped it around, tried to sell it, and a bunch of different TV networks were interested in it, but Netflix came in and swooped it up.
House of Cards is Netflix's first fully produced original series. They'll do this again when they produce the next season of Arrested Development this coming May.
Well, they ordered 2 seasons right off the bat, 26 episodes, which is unusual, which means they have a lot of faith and they really want to see this thing through. And the first season, all 13 episodes, is available at one time on Netflix.
So David Fincher approached Beau Willimon to be showrunner for House of Cards because of Beau Willimon's experience with political dramas.
Beau Willimon wrote the play Farragut North, which he then adapted into the screenplay for The Ides of March, directed by George Clooney.
Well, the story is an interesting one. It's a political drama, and it follows Kevin Spacey's character, Congressman Frank Underwood, as he basically plays a political game. He helped get the president elected and was promised the role of Secretary of State and didn't get it. So now he's sort of got a little bit of revenge thing going on, and instead of working for the president, he's working for himself. Our guide through the story is Kevin Spacey. He breaks the fourth wall a lot, and he talks directly to the audience.
It looks positively medieval, doesn't it? Trying to turn my only sanctuary into a fitness dungeon. I won't have it.
By having Kevin Spacey address the camera occasionally, it does work well for the show to make it not feel like you're being delivered exposition. Otherwise, you have a character who's addressing things in a more humorous manner. So you're kind of getting the information you need, but it's a unique sort of way to present it, so it doesn't bog the series down in a lot of political jargon.
Exactly. The breaking of the fourth wall adds realism because it avoids exposition that wouldn't happen in real life in politics because everybody there knows everything already. So having him stop and tell us what he just did works.
Also, I mean, I found it a little abrasive, but I got used to it after a while. I think the issue is that Kevin Spacey's character of Underwood is so duplicitous and such a mastermind that it's nice to be let in on his plans, and you don't hate him as much if you're in on the plans with him.
Mm-hmm.
You're not resenting him as much.
Which is really clever.
His actions could be considered evil or at least manipulative, but by having someone like Kevin Spacey, who is a charismatic person, like you're able to go along with how his role was played, and you don't feel like you're rooting against him at all. You want to root for him.
We are not nominating you for Secretary of State. I know he made you a promise, but circumstances have changed.
The nature of promises, Linda, is that they remain immune to changing circumstances.
He very much takes ownership of the program with his character and his performances. And the show's populated with what David Fincher calls all first-choice actors. Every single actor on the show was their first choice, the production team. And Kate Mara is lovely, Kristen Connolly is lovely. I was impressed with the quality of performances.
I want to single out Robin Wright as Spacey's wife in the series. She supports her husband, and you can see that. They're certainly a power couple, but she also has her own ways as the series kind of develops where you see her. She knows how to manipulate things to her own advantage in a way, and it's interesting to watch how that unfolds throughout the series.
Hubris. Ambition.
You should be angry.
I'm livid.
Then where is that? I don't see it.
What do you want me to do? Scream and yell? Throw a tantrum?
I want more than I'm seeing. You're better than this, Francis.
Well, I'm sorry, Claire. I am sorry.
No, that I won't accept.
What?
Apologies.
So David Fincher is one of the creative heads of this show, and he directs the first 2 episodes, and he puts his imprint on the show with that very cool, stylized look of his, that very, with the yellows and the greens that he likes to use. And I like that the series continues along with his style and has a nice visual continuity.
It's very Fincher-esque, which is a good thing. I'm a big David Fincher fan.
That's mine.
And I like that the other directors that are coming in are keeping up with the Fincher-esque directing habits instead of having awkward changes in style in the middle of the season. I also find it to be an extremely realistic show, not just because of all the political jargon, which you can get lost in, but even when I did get lost in it, I didn't care because I was just so intrigued by the show.
Yeah, I would agree. Fincher does bring an aesthetic to the show that is held throughout the series, and I do like that they have a high level of directorial talent involved. You have Joel Schumacher on his more serious side. You have Carl Franklin.
James Foley
of Glengarry Glen Ross.
And Twin Peaks.
And Twin Peaks, yes. And it feels like, just as the show has a large ensemble cast of actors that were cast for this series, it has a list of directors who seem to want to be involved in this series as well. There are a lot of shows on my DVR that I just haven't been in the mood for. House of Cards is a show that I burned through in less than a week. I say see it.
With the strong writing, the superb direction, and amazing performances, along with the unique distribution method, House of Cards has my vote. See it.
If political dramas are your bag, then this is the show for you. See it. Cheers!
Cheers!
House of Cards now, Arrested Development tomorrow.
I recently had the chance to see Sound City, the new documentary from first-time director Dave Grohl, drummer of Queens of the Stone Age and Nirvana and lead singer and guitarist of the Foo Fighters. Sound City follows the story of, well, Sound City, a recording studio founded in 1969 in Van Nuys, California. It wasn't the prettiest or the most popular, but it was the birthplace of many of the great recordings in rock and roll history, and tons of artists from the music industry think that it was one of the best studios around. Some of the artists who recorded here include Neil Young, Fleetwood Mac, Tom Petty, The Grateful Dead, Foreigner, REO Speedwagon, Rick Springfield, Johnny Cash, Nirvana. One of the main attractions of Sound City was their custom analog mixing console, created by Rupert Neve. There are many in the industry who consider this mixing console to be one of the best ever made. More than anything else, the film oozes nostalgia of a bygone era. With advances in music technology, things have become easier in the recording process. However, director Dave Grohl argues that now there's a human element missing from a lot of today's music. All in all, Sound City is a wonderful documentary for fans of music and the music industry. It's a definite see it, so check it out at soundcity.com.
On our next episode, we review the crime drama Trance from director Danny Boyle, the action thriller Olympus Has Fallen, and The Host from novelist Stephanie Meyer. We also give you our DVD pick and a classic selection from the vault. Thank you, and see you next week.
All right, guys, I have a magic convention I gotta get to, so I'll see you later.
Oh, that was today?